When God is about to bless you, everything in your life begins to shift. You may not see it instantly, but deep inside something starts to stir. The atmosphere around you changes. The people near you begin to reveal their true intentions, and your spirit grows restless. This is not confusion. It is divine movement. It's the signal that the hand of God is working behind the scenes, arranging something far greater than what you even asked for. You may think your life is breaking apart, but in reality, it's being positioned for divine alignment. God does not release blessings into disorder. Before He elevates, He organizes. Before He pours abundance, He refines the vessel. Before He takes you higher, He separates you from what cannot grow with you. Understand this truth. When God is preparing to bless you, He will not allow you to remain in comfort. The first sign of a coming blessing is discomfort. What once felt right begins to feel wrong. The places you used to enjoy now drain your energy, and conversations that once entertained you suddenly feel empty. That's not boredom, it's separation. God is pulling you away from what's beneath your destiny. When you're chosen for greatness, average places become unbearable because your spirit knows there's more. That inner stirring you feel, that divine dissatisfaction, is God awakening the seed inside you. You are being shifted from convenience to conviction. Do not resist the discomfort. It's the labor pain before the birth. The blessing you've been waiting for is near, but you must be willing to leave the comfort of the familiar. Then comes isolation, the second sign. People begin to fade away. Trusted ones distance themselves. Your phone grows silent, and support seems to vanish. It feels like rejection, but it's divine redirection. God removes people not to punish you, but to protect you. Every blessing exposes you, and not everyone around you can handle the light God is about to place upon you. So He isolates you, not to make you lonely, but to make you listen. In solitude, the noise fades and His voice becomes clear. It's there that He whispers instructions, exposes hidden threats, and strengthens your spirit. The blessing demands privacy before it's revealed publicly. When people walk away, don't chase them. Thank God. Fewer hands mean it's easier for Him to mold you. The third sign is when your enemies suddenly increase. You wonder why opposition rises without reason. It's because every elevation attracts resistance. God uses enemies as instruments to push you forward. When your name is spoken in rooms you've never entered, when people begin to misjudge you or plot against you, remember, your blessing is close. The enemy only attacks what threatens him. If you were insignificant, you'd be ignored. But when God's favor is about to manifest, you'll face pressure designed to strengthen your faith. The resistance isn't meant to destroy you, but to train you. Every betrayal, every misunderstanding, every closed door is part of your preparation. The greater the warfare, the greater the reward. Finally comes the divine test of faith. When God is ready to bless you, He tests your trust. Doors that should open stay closed, prayers seem delayed, silence grows louder. But it's not denial, it's development. God hides the blessing to see if you'll still believe when you can't see. It's the moment when faith becomes your only evidence. Hold on, because the delay is not defeat. It's divine timing aligning everything for your breakthrough. But God does not delay to deny. He delays to strengthen your spirit. He wants to test whether you trust His timing more than your own desires. Many lose their blessing at this stage because they surrender too soon. They give up when heaven is one command away from release. The test is never meant to destroy you, but to refine your faith. God asks you quietly, will you still believe when nothing seems to move? Will you still worship when there is no visible sign of change? Those who hold firm through this silence are the ones who receive the fullness of the promise. Because faith is not proven in comfort, it is proven in absence. When you can stand in trust with no evidence, when you can believe without a sign, you are ready for the sound of breakthrough. The fifth sign comes when divine clarity enters the fog of confusion. After walking through uncertainty, a calm stillness fills your heart. The chaos that clouded your mind begins to lift. You start to see purpose in your pain, meaning in your waiting, and wisdom in your losses. This is God opening your spiritual sight. Blessings never come to those who are blind to their lessons. They come to those who discern divine purpose. God begins to show you that every rejection was protection, every delay was redirection, and every loss was preparation. Suddenly, everything starts to make sense. Peace begins to flow through your spirit. Not ordinary peace, but the peace that passes understanding. That peace is proof that divine order is being restored. God never blesses confusion. He blesses clarity. When your heart begins to understand what the pain was teaching, it means you're now ready to carry the weight of the promise. Then comes the sixth sign, the sudden acceleration. After a long season of stillness, things begin to move swiftly. What once took years now happens in moments. Prayers you thought were forgotten begin unfolding one by one. The right people show up, the right doors open, the right opportunities align. It's as if time begins to bow to your destiny. That's not coincidence. It's divine orchestration. God compresses time when preparation meets purpose. What took others decades, you'll achieve in a fraction of that. Because when God is ready to bless, He redeems lost time. Every delay, every setback, every heartbreak now makes sense because you see how each moment positioned you. Patience becomes your weapon because patience allows God to perfect what you've been praying for. The seventh and final sign is spiritual elevation. Your inner world begins to rise before your outer world shifts. You start craving peace more than applause, meaning more than materials, purpose more than popularity. You begin detaching from things that once defined you. That's not weakness. It's spiritual maturity. God always blesses the inner life before transforming the outer life. When your heart releases pride, jealousy, and fear, heaven releases what was being held back, because blessings are not rewards. They are responsibilities. And God cannot entrust heavy blessings to hearts still burdened by the past. When you feel that inner transformation, the calm after years of storms, the lightness in your spirit, the unexplainable strength in your faith, it's the confirmation that your blessing is already near. Now hear this clearly. When God is about to bless you, He won't announce it to the crowd. He will announce it to your spirit. That quiet confidence, that strange calm in the middle of uncertainty, that peace that makes no sense, that is go whispering, "Be still, I am working." Many people miss their moment because they confuse stillness with stagnation. But stillness is the highest form of faith. It's the silent space where heaven moves while the earth stands still. So don't fear the quiet. In silence, creation happens. Before God reveals it to the world, He perfects it in secret. And when the silence grows loud, when doubt starts to whisper that nothing is changing, when fear says it will never happen, remember, those are the final tremors before your breakthrough. Because the closer you get to the blessing, the louder the resistance becomes. But faith will rise and remind you, God is faithful, and what He promised is already in motion. The enemy always strikes the mind before manifestation because he knows that if he can plant doubt, he can pause destiny. Every battle you face first begins in thought. If he can trap your mind in fear, he can freeze your future. But when you resist negativity, when you silence anxiety with unwavering belief, you show God that your heart is anchored in trust. The true battlefield is mental, and victory belongs to those who discipline their thoughts. Guard your mind as you would a crown, because it determines the direction of your life. God operates with precision. He never blesses prematurely. His timing is exact, not convenient. You might feel stuck, but you're being shaped. Every moment of waiting is sacred preparation. A blessing too soon can crush what it was meant to build. That's why God withholds until your foundation can handle what's coming. Every delay has purpose. Every pause carries divine planning. The blessing isn't late. It's being matured. Heaven is aligning unseen details, arranging people, resources, and opportunities so that when your blessing arrives, it won't slip through your fingers. You must keep faith steady when everything looks motionless, because unseen progress is still progress. God moves in silence before he manifests in sight. When God is preparing to bless you, a strange peace often surrounds you in the midst of storms. It's not natural, it's supernatural. It's the kind of calm that makes no logical sense because it comes from assurance, not evidence. You stop worrying about time frames. You stop comparing your progress to others. You start trusting that God's plan is unfolding exactly as it should. That quiet trust becomes your greatest strength. Many define blessings through possessions, but real blessings begin internally. When your spirit rests in peace that cannot be shaken, that is the soil of abundance. God transforms the heart before he transforms the surroundings. Once your inner world is aligned, your outer world must follow. That's divine order. Some of you are on the verge of breakthrough, but because your process feels painful, you've mistaken transition for failure. You see the shaking as punishment, but it's actually positioning. When winds rise, planes lift. When resistance intensifies, elevation follows. God stirs storms to move you from places you've overstayed. The very loss and discomfort you resist are the tools that push you toward destiny. You prayed for blessings, not realizing that blessings often come wrapped in battles. God conceals his greatest gifts within challenges to see who will keep trusting through chaos. So when life feels heavy, don't despair. It's proof that something divine is near. The greater the pressure, the closer the promotion. Understand this deeply. Blessings are never random. They're results of divine alignment. When your speech, actions, and motives begin to reflect God's will, heaven releases overflow. Many want blessings while clinging to disorder, but God blesses structure, not confusion. He honors faith over fear and surrender over stubbornness. The moment you stop resisting his will and start cooperating with his flow, doors will open effortlessly. The blessing was never distant. It was simply waiting for your obedience. God will not give what your character cannot carry. Every delay and every pruning season was shaping the integrity required to sustain your next level. Right before the blessing, pressure peaks. Everything feels unbearable. Silence grows louder. Doubt tries to convince you that it's over. That's the final test, the breaking point before breakthrough. The hardest moments are always the holiest. When everything in you wants to quit, hold your faith tighter. The night is darkest before dawn. God waits until surrender replaces struggle. He doesn't bless pride, he blesses purity. When your heart says, even if you don't give me what I want, I still trust you, that confession shakes heaven. That is the moment divine release activates. And when it comes, it won't be quiet. It will be undeniable. What you lost will return multiplied. Broken relationships will heal. New doors will open effortlessly. Those who once ignored you will see the evidence of grace in your life. You won't have to speak for yourself. Your transformation will be your testimony. That's the beauty of God's timing. He refines you privately so he can reveal you publicly. He turns your struggle into proof of his faithfulness. And when the blessing finally arrives, it won't just elevate you. It will announce to everyone that what God ordains, no opposition can stop. God separates light from darkness before creation begins, and in the same way, He separates your purpose from your past before your blessing manifests. You may lose people, patterns, or pleasures you once held close, but remember, God separates to elevate. He detaches you from what drains your spirit because you cannot rise while holding what weighs you down. Separation isn't loss, it's transition. The emptiness that follows is sacred space being prepared for divine fullness. When your blessing draws near, God's presence becomes undeniable. You feel Him in stillness, in silence, in every simple moment. He begins training your spirit to recognize His movement, deepening your prayer life, refining your focus from asking for things to asking for wisdom, from chasing validation to seeking alignment. That inner transformation signals maturity, and maturity attracts manifestation. When God sees that you desire His will more than His gifts, He entrusts you with both. Every person destined for greatness must walk through a refining fire that burns away pride, fear, and doubt. This fire does not destroy, it defines. It builds humility, endurance, and clarity. You learn patience through delay, compassion through pain, and gratitude through loss. These virtues prepare you to carry what once would have crushed you. Once refined, even your smallest acts of obedience gain divine weight. God multiplies your efforts, turns your ordinary into impact, and causes your consistency to create miracles. Many fall short not because they lack ability, but because they surrender too soon, one step before breakthrough. But when you persevere through silence, when you keep sowing in faith, despite no visible harvest, heaven responds. God honors endurance. Every time you refuse to quit, your persistence becomes prayer in motion. The closer your blessing, the greater the distraction. The enemy won't stop you with failure. He'll try to distract you with false opportunities, urgency, and confusion. That's why discernment becomes your shield. Ask yourself daily, does this lead me toward peace or away from it? Because the voice of God never confuses, it confirms. He doesn't rush you, He positions you. Anything that disturbs your peace is not divine. The ability to distinguish between what's good and what's God determines whether you walk into your destiny or wander in delay. When your heart, mind, and actions finally align with divine purpose, you enter flow. Life begins to cooperate with heaven's rhythm. Even mistakes become teachers and failures turn to fuel. You start to see the beauty behind every trial and say, "Thank you, God," instead of, "Why me?" Gratitude becomes your new language, and gratitude unlocks abundance. It multiplies what it touches. God blesses thankful hearts because they magnify His goodness. Then comes a quiet knowing deep within, a peace that no one can steal. That's when you'll realize your blessing has already begun. You'll feel lighter, calmer, free from anxiety, and unaffected by opinions. True blessings aren't loud, they're peaceful. They don't create competition, they create contentment. If your life feels uncertain, it's not chaos, it's construction. God is near, orchestrating something magnificent beneath the surface. Hold your faith. Faith is the bridge between promise and manifestation. Every word of belief is a seed, and in due season it blooms. God hasn't forgotten you. He's fortifying you. And when His timing meets your readiness, no power in heaven or on earth can block your blessing. When God prepares to elevate you, He increases the weight of your test, not to crush you, but to strengthen you for what's coming. So when life feels heavier, don't despair. It's proof that your spirit is being trained to sustain glory. Those who can stand the stretching are the ones God can trust with success. Emotional healing always comes before any visible transformation because God first restores the peace within before He restores what was lost. Once your heart is healed, your hands can hold the blessing securely. And when that blessing begins to unfold, it comes with divine ease. The struggle that once drained you turns into flow, and the resistance that once blocked you becomes alignment. Doors open naturally, help arrives unexpectedly, and favor meets you in places that once rejected you. This smoothness is not luck. It's the result of spiritual synchronization. When your heart, thoughts, and actions operate in harmony with God's will, creation itself responds to that alignment. Everything in existence obeys divine obedience. When you cooperate with God's rhythm, life begins to support your purpose instead of opposing it. But understand, every blessing carries weight, and that weight is responsibility. God doesn't pour into you for self-indulgence. He blesses you to become a vessel through which His goodness flows. A blessing that ends with you becomes stagnation, but one that flows through you multiplies endlessly. Use your abundance to lift, your insight to guide, your story to heal, and your success to inspire. The more you give, the more heaven trusts you with. God expands those who release, because through them His reach expands. Yet even in the glow of favor, doubt will attempt to creep in. It will question your readiness, your worth, and your timing. But doubt only visits destiny. It never lingers where there is no light. Let it serve as confirmation that something luminous is approaching. Silence that whisper by remembering what you've already survived. The same hand that carried you before will carry you again. Every past deliverance is evidence of a future promise. And as the moment of manifestation nears, gratitude becomes your greatest weapon. Gratitude shifts atmospheres, dismantles fear, and draws divine favor. When you thank God before you see the outcome, you prove your trust in His plan. That kind of faith opens invisible gates. Gratitude transforms scarcity into abundance because it trains your spirit to see blessings in every small beginning. A thankful heart is never empty. It is continuously replenished by recognition of God's goodness. Gratitude is active faith. It says, I know it's done even if I can't see it yet. And when the blessing finally arrives, remember, its purpose isn't comfort, it's impact. Comfort fades, but calling endures. God blesses you so your life can testify of His power, so that those watching your journey will find hope in your story. That is the ultimate blessing, to become living evidence of divine faithfulness. So if you feel the stretching, the inner stirring, the quiet pressure building in your soul, don't resist it. That tension means heaven is aligning on your behalf. God isn't just preparing what's for you. He's preparing you for what's coming. When readiness meets divine timing, no force in existence can delay what's written in your destiny. Hold steady. Keep your faith unwavering. The signs are already unfolding. The stillness you feel is not emptiness, it's anticipation. Heaven is gathering itself around your name, and what's written for you cannot be undone. Lift your head, because your appointed moment is closer than you think. The blessing you've prayed for isn't waiting somewhere in the distance. It's already in motion, finding its way toward you. God is carefully arranging every detail, aligning the right people, opportunities, and divine timings that will lift you higher than you imagined. Your only task is to remain faithful in silence, humble in progress, and ready in spirit. When God decides to release favor, He doesn't seek approval. He moves with undeniable authority. His hand leaves evidence that cannot be questioned, a signature of power that marks you as chosen for something extraordinary. So with every ounce of faith inside you, speak this truth into existence. I am ready. God, prepare me for what you have already prepared for me. Remove every barrier that blinds me, cleanse every thought that distracts me, and position me to receive all that you have written in my destiny. Let that declaration become your daily surrender. Because when you live in full submission to divine will, you no longer chase blessings. They begin to pursue you. Wherever there is a heart yielded to God, Favor flows like a river that never runs dry. Now step forward with courage, conviction, and peace. The signs are clear, the preparation is complete, and the door of blessing stands open before you. When it opens, don't hesitate. Walk through it with confidence and gratitude. This is your appointed season, your divine hour to rise, to be favored, to be seen, and to be used mightily for His glory.